The oldest practice in the Rig Veda does not happen once a day. It happens 3 times. At the 3 moments when the world quietly changes its nature: dawn, noon, dusk. The rishis called these moments sandhi, the joints of the day, the seams where one phase of time is stitched to the next. And they believed something remarkable. They believed that what you do at these junctures shapes your entire relationship to time itself. Most modern practitioners have never been taught even a simplified version of this practice. In the next several minutes, I will give you the full teaching, the meaning, the structure, the Gayatri mantra with its pronunciation, and a complete version you can do in 2 minutes. Let us begin with the word itself. Sandhya means union. It comes from the same root as sandhi, the joining, the meeting place. In the grammar of the Sanskrit language, there is a rule also called sandhi, the rule that governs what happens when two sounds meet, when the end of one word touches the beginning of another, and the two blend into a single new sound. The seers used the very same word for these moments in the day, and the choice is deliberate. A sandhya is a place where two things meet and something new is born of the meeting. But union of what? The union of day and night. The union of light and dark. The union of one state of consciousness and the next. A sandhya is not a fixed point in time so much as a threshold, a doorway you pass through. And the tradition teaches that doorways are sacred precisely because they belong fully to neither side. At dawn you are no longer in night and not yet in day. At dusk you are no longer in day and not yet in night. You stand in between. That in-between place, the rishis taught, is where the veil is thin, where the ordinary grip of the world loosens for a moment, and the mind is most easily turned toward the divine. A door that is fully closed shows you nothing. A door that is fully open is just a wall behind you. It is the door swinging on its hinge half here and half there that lets the light through. The sandhya is that hinge. The Sanskrit literature describes 3 primary sandhyas, 3 doorways spread across the arc of a single day. The first is pratah sandhya, the dawn juncture, observed at sunrise as the darkness gives way to light. The second is madhyana sandhya, the midday juncture, observed at noon when the sun stands at its highest point and begins, in that very instant, its long descent. The third is sayam sandhya, the evening juncture, observed at sunset as the light surrenders once more to the dark. 3 doorways: dawn, noon, and dusk. Each one a chance to pause, to gather yourself, and to step consciously across a seam in time rather than being dragged across it without noticing. Now, why should a juncture matter at all? Why did the ancient seers build an entire daily discipline around these particular moments and not others? The Vedic answer reaches into cosmology. The tradition saw the cosmos itself as a great living being that breathes, that wakes and sleeps, that moves through cycles of becoming and dissolving. And the day, the small turning of a single sun across a single sky, was understood as a miniature of that vast cosmic rhythm. Dawn is creation in small. Noon is the fullness of life. Dusk is the gentle dissolution that returns all things to rest. To stand consciously at these junctures, the seers taught, is to align your own small life with the breathing of the whole. Energy itself shifts at these hinges. The rishis were close observers of the living world, and they noticed that the transitions of light are also transitions of life. Watch the animals. At dusk, the birds fall silent and return to their roosts, while the creatures of the night begin to stir. Watch the plants. The flowers that follow the sun, the heliotropes, turn and close as the light changes. Watch a forest in the last gray minutes before sunrise, and you will hear a particular stillness fall, a held breath, just before the first bird sings. These are not poetic fancies. They are observable shifts, repeated every single day, and the tradition held that the human nervous system, being part of nature and not apart from it, shifts with them whether we notice or not. The sandhya practice is simply the choice to notice. Modern circadian science confirms the intuition with striking precision. Your body is governed by an internal clock tuned to the rising and setting of the sun, and that clock releases its most important chemical signals at exactly these junctures. At dawn, cortisol peaks. This is the cortisol awakening response, a clean and healthy surge of the alertness hormone designed by the body to lift you out of sleep and prepare you to meet the day with energy. At dusk, the opposite signal begins. As the light fades, the pineal gland starts to produce melatonin, the hormone that quiets the system and prepares it for rest. So the dawn and the dusk are not arbitrary moments chosen by old men in a forest. They are biological hinges written into your chemistry. When you place a deliberate practice at these exact points, you are not fighting your physiology. You are cooperating with it. You are riding the wave the body is already producing. So now let us look at the practice itself. The traditional structure of Sandhya Vandana has 3 components, performed in order, and each one prepares you for the next. The first component is Achamana. This is a purification with water. You take 3 small sips of water from the cupped palm of your right hand, each sip accompanied by a mantra that purifies the body, the speech, and the mind in turn. The outer act of cleansing is also an inner one. It is a way of saying, with the body, that you are setting down what came before and arriving clean at the doorway. The second component is Pranayama, breath regulation. Here you take 3 slow rounds of alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana, to steady the heart, to calm the nervous system, and to bring the 2 great energy channels of the body into balance before you turn the mind toward the sacred. The third and central component is the chanting of the Gayatri mantra. In the full traditional practice, this is done 108 times, counted on the beads of a mala. The number 108 is itself sacred across the Vedic world, a number the tradition associates with wholeness and with the cycles of the cosmos. But do not let that number intimidate you. For the modern practitioner, 11 repetitions are plenty. What matters is not the count. What matters is the attention you bring to each one. A single Gayatri chanted with your whole presence is worth more than 100 recited while the mind wanders off to the day's worries. So begin with what you can hold with full attention and let the practice deepen on its own. Now let me teach you the Gayatri mantra itself, slowly, line by line, so that you can carry it with you. The Gayatri is considered the mother of all Vedic mantras, the most sacred verse in the entire tradition. Listen and let the sounds settle. Om. Bhurbhuva Sva. Tatsavitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. Let us walk through it. It opens with Om, the primordial sound, the seed of all sound. Then comes Bhurbhuva Sva, an invocation of the 3 worlds, the earthly, the atmospheric, and the heavenly, the whole of creation gathered into 3 words. Then Tatsavitur Varenyam, that supreme and adorable light of the divine sun. Then Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, on that radiance of the divine we meditate. And finally, Dhiyo yo na prachodayat, may that light awaken and illumine our understanding. So the full meaning gathered together is this. We meditate upon the divine light of the sun, the source of all life. May that light kindle and guide our intellect. It is not a request for things. It is a request for clarity. It is a prayer that the same light which wakes the world each morning would also wake the mind. This mantra is ancient beyond easy reckoning. It comes from the Rig Veda, the 3rd book, verse 62, verse 10, attributed to the sage Vishvamitra. For thousands of years it has been chanted at exactly these junctures, at dawn and at dusk, by countless practitioners greeting the same sun you will greet tomorrow. When you chant it, you are not beginning something new. You are joining a current that has been flowing without interruption for longer than almost any other living practice on earth. And notice what the verse asks for. It does not ask the sun for wealth, or for protection, or for any object at all. It asks only that the light which illumines the outer world would also illumine the inner one. The sun that lights the sky is taken as a symbol of a deeper light, the light of awareness itself, and the prayer is simply that this light would grow clearer in us. That is why the Gayatri sits at the very center of the Sandhya. The whole practice is an act of turning, at the doorway of the day, from the outer light toward the inner. Now, I know that for most people, the full Sandhya Vandana, 3 times a day with all its components, is not realistic in a modern life. So here is the version I want you to actually begin with. The 2-minute Sandhya. It keeps the essence and removes everything else. First, orient yourself. Face east at sunrise, toward the coming light, or face west at sunset, toward the departing light. Second, take 3 slow breaths, letting each exhale be a little longer than the inhale, settling the body. Third, chant the Gayatri 3 times, even softly, even under your breath, simply letting the sounds move through you. And fourth, sit in silence for 30 seconds. Just sit. Do not reach for anything. Let the doorway be open. That silence at the end is not an afterthought. It is the most important part. The breath and the chant are there to bring you to the threshold, and the silence is the moment you actually stand in it. That is the entire practice. 2 minutes, twice a day, at the two great hinges of light. That is all I am asking you to begin with. And here is the most important instruction of all, the same one I give for every practice. Do not begin with the ambitious version. The enemy of a daily discipline is not laziness. It is ambition. If you resolve to do all 3 sandhyas in full, with the water and the mantras and the mala, you will likely abandon the whole thing within a week. So start with the smallest version that still holds the essence. 2 minutes, 1 juncture, every single day, held for far longer than a perfect practice attempted twice and then dropped. Consistency is the teacher here, not intensity. And here is what I have found, both in my own practice and in the reports of those who keep this discipline. What changes after 30 days of consistent sandhya? 3 things, quietly and steadily. The first is a restored sense of time. You begin to feel the day's natural rhythm from the inside, the rise and the peak and the descent, instead of being yanked from one obligation to the next with no sense of where you are. You stop being dragged by time and start moving with it. The second is calmer transitions. Because you have practiced pausing at the great junctures of the day, you begin, without trying, to pause at the small ones too. The moments between tasks, between meetings, between one room and the next, stop feeling so jagged. The seams of your day grow smooth. So much of modern stress lives not inside our activities, but in the rough crossings between them, the way we carry the tension of one thing straight into the next without ever setting it down. The sandhya trains the nervous system in a single skill, the skill of crossing a threshold queenly, and that skill quietly spreads into every hour. And the third is deeper sleep. Because you have honored the closing of the light each evening, your nervous system relearns an old truth it had forgotten, that the day is meant to end and that rest is meant to follow the dark. You give the body its evening signal, and the body gratefully lets go. So do not wait for the perfect conditions. Do not wait until you can do all 3 sandhyas with every mantra and a mala in your hand. Begin small and begin tomorrow. Catch one juncture, the dawn or the dusk, whichever you can reach. Face the light. Breathe 3 times. Chant the Gayatri 3 times. Sit for 30 seconds in the silence of the doorway. Hold that, and only that, every day for 30 days, and let the practice teach you the rest. Inside the 10x Vedic app, the Sandhya practice includes a compass that uses your location and the time of day to show you exactly which direction to face, east toward the rising sun or west toward the setting one, so you never have to wonder. Open it tomorrow at sunrise or at sunset. 2 minutes at the doorway. That is the whole investment. Namaste.